So you're in the market for a Camry, or you're curious about what Toyota has to offer for the sedan line in 2023. Well, my name is Brian and thank you for checking out my channel. Today we're going to go over the 2023 Camry LE, a simple, dependable car that will never let you down. Let's check it out. So for just under $30,000, you can get yourself a 4-cylinder front-wheel drive Camry. For a little bit more, you can get the all-wheel drive version if you need the traction. And you're going to have a 5-star safety car here. In this review, we're going to start with the exterior. We'll talk about some of the safety. We'll move on to some of the economy numbers, talk about the engine and drivetrain, and move our way inside and wrap up the video. I will also include a separate tutorial video that you can check out for somebody who has purchased the car and wants to really dive in, or for the people that are just very curious about the features inside the car in a further depth video. But with that said, let's begin with the exterior of the 2023 Camry. So we're looking at the 2023 Toyota Camry LE. This is going to look very similar, if not identical, to what you see starting in 2018. 2018 is when Toyota changed the Camry, and it's been pretty much the same ever since, besides a couple refreshes, especially with the safety sense system. Behind the emblem on every Camry, there's actually a radar device. And in the windshield, there's a monocular camera. So with Toyota Safety Sense, the Camry is able to dictate and determine if you're driving within the lines. It can also give you steering assist to steer you back in the lane. It can determine how close objects and people are, including bicyclists now, for the 2.5 plus Safety Sense system. In full light and low light conditions, the radar cruise control is adaptive, which means the Camry will slow down and speed up with a couple different following distances on the highway for the long drives. And the automatic high beams are going to literally know when there's a car in front of you to turn the high beams off, when there's a car coming towards you to turn the high beams off, and when there's no car or vehicle near you to turn the high beams back on. Of course, you can adjust some of these settings and even turn certain features off, but what's great is with the pre-collision system, which is the big star of the show, while you're driving down the road, if you're coming up really close to a person, car, or bicyclist in all different lighting conditions now, you'll actually get a very quick alert on the screen by the speedometer in orange and white, and if you don't react in time, it will then brake. But let's get back to the fun stuff and talk about the exterior and the way this Camry looks. Today we're looking at the Celestial Silver, which is one of 3 silvers. Now, not all of the silvers are available on the Camry, but Toyota makes 3 silvers. You have the Celestial Silver, there's also Classic Silver, and then there's Silver Sky Metallic. Now, unless you're an artist, it's kind of tough to tell the difference, but there are some nuances between the silvers. But silver's silver, and look at that silver. I love silver on the Camry because silver really shows the body lines. As you move around a silver Camry, you can see the way the silver just shows off the body lines, and it puts the shadows in the perfect places to emphasize the things that Toyota wanted to emphasize. Whereas if you had a white or a black Camry, those crevices and lines and chiseled areas kind of just blend in. And no, I'm not going to make a haul video about color, but just to show you on the off lighting on the shady side of the Camry, the silver still does pop in certain areas and give you shade in other areas. And at a distance here, it just looks good at every angle. Let's get a little up close and personal with the Camry. Without looking like it's trying too hard, the hood has these nice refined lines that really emphasize the headlight, move on, give it a little bit of a muscular look, and then cut back down towards the headlight. And speaking of the headlights, standard on the 23 Camry are LED headlights, which of course have a daytime running light, and a simple, big, old school looking, but super bright orange side marker and turn signal. You can't mistake that in traffic. You'll always know that the Camry has its signal on at any distance. And with the L line, because with Camry you have the L and the S line, you have these horizontal lines that go across the bumper, giving it a very large airflow look without taking up the entire face of the car like you see on some of the new vehicles these days. Now, if you were to go with the LE's bigger sister, the XLE, these side markers here would actually have a triple J look, and it would be a white LED for 3 different J strips right there where the side marker / turn signal exists. Inside this projector beam is a flipper mirror, so when you put the high beams on, that mirror is going to flip, which is going to make the light even brighter for the high beams instead of needing a dedicated bulb. And looking up close like this, the cool thing about the Camry is the headlight looks like an eye, so it gives it this really lively appearance, at least to me. If you've been watching me for a while, I tend to add, lifelike features to the cars. I just can't help it. But getting up close, it literally looks like the Camry's just calmly looking out there while it's driving around. I think it's a super cool look. I think they did very good with the headlights on this car. If you were to go with the S line in the SE or XSE family, instead of the horizontal lines here on the grille, you would have more of a slanted, frowning look, and then this grille design would not be horizontal lines. You'd have what I call like the honeycomb or basket weave look here, which is pretty much signature to any sportier version of any car. And I look forward to doing the SE, which is going to be in a soon-to-come video. Now standard on the Camry LE, which was the same as last year, are alloy wheels. So you no longer have to worry about buying a base car and getting the steel wheels with the plastic hubcap, which there are some benefits to those. I mean, if you scratch them up, they're cheap to replace. But there's nothing as quality and refined looking as a nice simple alloy wheel, which they didn't go with a basic Fat 5 design like on the RAV4. It's spoked out, which is really nice. And the interesting thing is some of the spokes are a little bigger that are divided and some of them are straight. So it just plays with the eye nicely, and it definitely does not look cheap. It's very tasteful for a car like this. And also without making you look like you're trying to be the top of the line luxury model. I mean, when we pull it back a little bit, it fits the part very nicely. It's more of a baseline car, but in no way does the Camry LE seem cheap. Color matching mirrors are standard on the Camry LE now. There was a time a long time ago where base model cars came with just a black unpainted mirror. Moving to the back of the car, we have that classic Camry design that we've known to love over the last 6 years almost. Instead of doing almost a full red out design, Toyota's almost doing this wishbone boomerang effect to a lot of their vehicles. We have the kind of like that red boomerang over there with the white on the inside. Let's get close. Another fun fact for people that are lights geeks, I'm a little bit of a lights geek. On the SE and the LE, which are the base models of the XLE and the XSE, your red running light will be this red rectangle here. If you were to upgrade to the XLE, or you were to upgrade to the XSE, you will get a full LED wishbone that goes all the way around here, which looks sick at nighttime. The trunk of the Camry almost has like this built-in duck bill, I call it, where it swoops and then cuts down. And if you look close enough, it almost cuts in this way and back out to give it almost like a lip wing effect without the ugly lip wing look that would be adhesed to the trunk, collect dirt, drip down in the rain. This is all built into the body here, and it gives it that very shaved, clean, uniform look. And notice Camry in big letters now, going down the trunk like this. Instead of what it used to be, tiny in the corner for nobody to see. Camry. Much more presence. So the powerhouse of the Camry, a simple, naturally aspirated 2.5 liter 4-cylinder. This is the A25A FKS. Simple design, no turbo. It is mated to a 8-speed automatic transmission, so we don't have a CVT here. I know some people have concerns about CVTs, so if you do not want a CVT, you're not forced to drive a CVT in a Camry. You have a typical Toyota geared transmission. Now, this engine is going to offer, finally for the Camry, over 200 horsepower. It sits at 203 horsepower with 184 torque, which is going to give you a EPA rating of 39 miles per gallon on the highway, 28 in the city, with a blend of around 30. In fact, let me correct myself over here. I believe the blend is actually 32. Yep, blending at 32. Of course, your mileage may vary based on your driving habits, but my feedback from a lot of my clients is that they're pretty much getting spot on with these EPA numbers. Inside every Camry, you will have 15 cubic feet available to you to store whatever you'd like. Tons of space. Instead of having to awkwardly go to your rear dash to fold down your seats, there are two little pull knobs that you can pull, and then when you go inside the cabin, you can push these seats down in a 60-40 split. Very easy to do. I'll demonstrate right now for you. So there's your 60 split. There's your 40 split. And in a matter of seconds, you have even more space for whatever your heart desires in your new Camry. Underneath the all-weather mat, there's a little hook. If I pull, I now have access to the tools, and underneath the styrofoam is the spare tire. So everything is inside the vehicle, not being exposed to the elements like on the Tacomas and Highlanders. Another nice thing I like is that when the trunk opens, it slows itself down when it gets to the top instead of bobbing and bouncing against its limiter right there. So that's another nice plus about the Camry. So here we are, the big topic of conversation when people are considering the Camry versus the Corolla, the rear passenger space. This is where the Camry shines. So at 5'10" on a good day, my shoulder is right about here. And this seat's back pretty far. And I got plenty of space here for my knee. I'd say I'd probably have about 7 inches of space here. And these nice big windows in the back really reduce the claustrophobia. But the nice thing is, I don't feel super exposed either. It's just the right size. A couple things I do really like about the Camry are that the anchors here for the car seats are very easy to get to. And, you know, as an uncle, and maybe one day a parent, it's super easy. Like, you know, when you have the little one right over here and you have the bag in your right hand, you can just take your left hand and you can get around and you can push on that buckle there. And the nice thing is, when you push on this buckle, there's nowhere for it to disappear to. You can push as hard as you want. And on some other cars, these buckles disappear into a vortex, never to be seen again. And now you have a 15-minute process trying to find out how to get these without ruining your hands, hurting yourself, or taking out the car seat and putting it back in. So it's nice, just a one-handed, done. The all-weather floor mats look nice. They don't have those dedicated cells that the trucks and SUVs have, but this leaf design here is interesting because it really does look like a bunch of Camry headlights or eyes just down on the floor. And another thing to consider is that the all-weather mats are not standard. This is something that's packaged in, including that all-weather cargo protector. So some Camrys will come from the factory with cloth floor mats. So definitely check that when you're buying a Camry to make sure you get the mats that you want. And before we make our way to the front, I wanted to talk about the storage on the door. Interesting, it's going to be a slanted bottle storage, not a long pocket like you see on some of the longer sedans. A simple handle here that doesn't have a hole, so you can actually put stuff in there. It's a grippable handle. I don't have a rubbery grip here, so simple hard plastic. A little bit of a brushed steel effect here to break up all that black. Nothing luxury here. Simple foamy pad. You know, just enough in the back here, nothing crazy. It makes sense. You know, when you have a toddler in here, they're not worried about the effect and cushiness of their armrest. If you need that stuff, get a Crown or a certified Avalon, in my opinion. I think this is fine. Let's jump over to the Copilot seat, talk about what it's like being over there, and then make our way to the drivers. All right, here's what it's like getting in the Copilot seat of the 2023 Camry LE. Let's start with the inside of the door. Similar to the back, you have all black with that steel strip right over here. Of course, this will be slightly varied depending on what interior color you choose. Same here, just a simple padded foamy cushion here that gets a little harder as it gets to the handle, which the front handle also does not have a rubbery grip here like you get on the RAV4. Would have liked it, not a big deal. Just a dot more storage because you have the same slanted handle here, or slanted bottle storage, but you do have a little pocket that goes to the side that you didn't get in the rear. So right in front of the speaker there is a little slider pocket there. You're not going to fit a ton of stuff. I'd say you wouldn't even really be able to fit a clutch in there. A cell phone could slide in there, maybe a little wallet, but little bags, not going to happen. Nice brushed chrome look here, sandblasted, whatever you want to call it. Not that shiny chrome that shoots the sun into your eyes, so that's nice to see. But other than that, this is a little different than the back. This is that padded foamy material as well. Definitely not luxury, but you can't expect that when you're at the base level. It's definitely doable. Hard plastic here. It's going to be durable. It's going to take a beating and have just enough comfort. Another interesting observation, the floor mat in the front, these little eyelets, leaves, are not as prominent, which is interesting to me. So you have a shallower pool here to store all of your gunk and water and slush, and then the Camry emblem is all blacked out now instead of gray, which I've shared in other videos. I think Toyota did this for two reasons: to get a little sportier, and because the gray ones got dingy really quick, the black is just going to look good all the time. Simple fabric seats, not super fuzzy like you saw in the early 2000s, nothing new. We have like a tree bark effect here on the center fabric. What's nice to see though at the base level is this suede strip, which we were not getting a few years ago. So we're starting to add a little bit of extra stuff in there. That's nice. And the overall feel of the fabric is definitely of a good quality. I think this is the type of fabric that'll definitely take a beating. It'll be a little easier to wipe up than some of the older school fabrics. It's fine. This is exactly what I would personally expect at this level. Not cheap at all, but definitely not luxury. It is a manual seat for the passenger, and for the driver, for the Camry, you finally get an automatic seat, which is nice, but we'll discuss that in a couple minutes. Lots of visibility in the Camry. To be expected. Got the LED instead of the little yellow light, and for when the sun is in that awkward spot, simple slider. Oh, and look, I just got blessed with a little bit of manufacturer's glue. That means good luck. But a couple things that are nice about being on the passenger side here is this design that they did, which they change every couple years. This is kind of like a basket weaved metallic look here. Definitely not a fake carbon fiber. They're not going for the fake carbon fiber look, which I appreciate. We see a little bit more of that design in the S line. This is giving you a little bit more of that ambiance of class. The piano black, people love to complain about this because of fingerprints, but Toyota, I think the piano black is gorgeous. If it gets fingerprints, just take a towel and wipe it up real quick, because you're not going to be putting your paws everywhere. There's nothing wrong with wiping up your car once in a while. I think the piano black does a great job breaking up the dull, non-shiny black that we have in here, and it gives it that modern, classy, shiny, techie look that makes you feel good about spending this much money on a car, in my opinion. And I also like that that piano black wraps around here, and that sandblasted sparkly silver color wraps around with a very pretty bezel. Just the small tasteful little things here. And they even did the sandblast here instead of the chrome, so we don't really have chrome shooting sunlight. See, the sun's hitting this, but it's not blinding me. A lot of the GM cars, this is all chrome and it just blinds you. It's all sandblasted, which is nice. So these little touches here, and this could use a little bit of a dusting, but when you wipe that with a towel, I mean, come on, you can't tell me that's not beautiful. Now, unlike the Corolla, they went with more of a flat color here, which is nice, and you still have your non-chromed bezel there. That's all sandblasted silver. Personally, and this is as unbiased as possible, I think they did very well. And now we have the darker gray, sparkly, almost like a magnetic gray. It's just guiding your eyes up to where all the action is. Very driver oriented, very cool, especially for a car that used to be considered like the grandma or grandpa car. Nothing new for the Camry, but as the Camry's lifetime has gone by, great to see things just be more of a driver oriented vehicle. Good Good stuff. I always love being in a Camry. Guys, check out a Camry in person. Camry owners, shout out down below in the comments, please. You know you can find me down there. Tell me what you think of your Camry. How long have you had it? Do you love it? Are you shopping for another one? What do you think of these changes to the Camry that was once a boring car? With all that said, we've had enough time everywhere else. Let's go to the main seat, the important seat, the driver's seat. Here's what it looks like getting into a brand new 2023 Toyota Camry LE. So we won't spend a ton of time on the door. Same thing as the passenger side, just have more switches and knobs. Auto down and up all around, which is great. Simple Toyota tactile feel here. Not a bunch of pads. It's just nice to see these grippy knobs. Toyota, I gotta say, the buttons and knobs, good stuff. Also appreciated for a while now. Standard electronic seat with lumbar support. But here she is, let's get inside. Let's give her a quick startup and talk about what we have going on over here. So when you're sitting in a Camry, it's the most Toyota feeling that you get. It's hard to describe what it is. It just feels like a Toyota. To some people, my BMW and Mercedes drivers, you're going to have a different feeling than somebody who drives a Kia and sits in a Toyota. You're also going to have a different sensation if you drive mostly GMs and you sit in a Toyota. But I would say it's a universal feeling that a lot of people understand. Simple, easy reader on the speedometer. You can just glance at this for 2 seconds and you know exactly what's going on. Big, square, easy to push buttons. Definitely don't need that today. Couple details about the Camry. There are different packages available. So this is the 7-inch screen, the infotainment screen that comes standard. There is an upgraded package which bumps that up to 9 inches. This one has the weather package. Toyota calls it the cold weather package, which offers the heated seats on both sides, 3 different levels, as well as that heating steering wheel that I just showed you over here, as well as the heated side mirrors. Great for the snowy weather, great for the harsh weather. Definitely something to consider if you live in one of those climates. More info on the packaging. So the audio upgrade package, which turns this 7-inch screen into a 9-inch screen, also offers the wireless charging, which will be down here on this sliding shelf, and will offer that rear vent for the passengers that I wanted to be standard. So you can get the rear vent at the LE level, you just have to get the audio upgrade package. I do think it's very funny that Toyota chose to put a rear vent in an audio package, but you know, when you're spreading the goods across 5 different packages, I guess you got to pick a place to put it, whether it makes sense or not. Then available is the sunroof package, which is just the sunroof by itself. Now, if Toyota put the rear vent with the sunroof package, it probably would make it a little too expensive of a package, but that's a separate package. And then you have the convenience package, which gives you the auto-dimming rear view mirror with the HomeLink transceiver and a smart key system. So that's a push-button starter, which would be right over here, and this would be a key fob that you can leave in your pocket, and you can lock the door handle by touching it or unlock it just by that. So you have the 5 different packages: blind spot, sunroof. So you got blind spot, sunroof, convenience, the upgraded audio with the rear vent, and the cold weather package, all available to mix and match whatever's available to you on your Camry LE. There are 3 different drive modes on the Camry LE. The Eco mode will give you a little bit less power but more economy. Sport's going to be the opposite, a little bit more power, less economy, and normal is going to be a blend. You can use them at any time. There's no perfect time to use them, and you can change them while driving, which is nice. It's a straight line shifter. You also have the shifter mode where you can toggle through the gears. And in front of that, like I mentioned, if you don't have the wireless charging, it's okay. You still get the slider storage. And it's about wrist deep there. And then I have a non-slip sticky pad over there. More available charging. So I got the 2 in the back, which is an add-on, and the 2 in the front. And then 2 more over here. And finally, we see that new USB-C. The storage over here is about halfway up to the elbow. Definitely decent. This opens up this way instead of flips to the side. Works for me. This is much more soft and plush than on the doors, which is appreciated because you're definitely putting a little bit more weight on here. I feel like people tend to lean a little bit more this way while they adjust things. And dual zone climate standard. Beautiful. Very easy to use system here. We'll discuss this in more detail in the tutorial video. There's the auto high beams from the safety sense system that I mentioned before. Sorry for bouncing around a little bit, just want to touch the important stuff. It's nice to see all the controls in the front. When you're driving the Toyota, you can feel these buttons. They're very high quality buttons. The MID screen is 4.2 inches. It's the same down the board on the LE, so I can change some of the settings here. Do check out the tutorial for going deep into that. Nice to see the automatic lights standard. It's simple stuff. When you hit map, it's going to say navigation app not installed. We used to use an app called Scout GPS Link on most of our models, but when you do the CarPlay or the Android Auto, that's really what's going to replace this. And when you're plugged in, you hit map, and you can do Waze, Google Maps, Apple Maps, whatever you like. And of course, up top real quick, got our LED lights, which is nice. Sunglass case. I can't drive this one down the road, guys, I'm sorry, but I'll put it in drive real quick and I'll just talk about, you know, visibility and stuff. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention was the parking brake is not electronic like on a lot of the newer Toyotas. You still have your push pedal, super old school. Nothing against the buttons here, they just haven't moved on to that yet for the base model. But the steering is something I really love about the Camry. They're very easy to steer. They take the turns very nicely. The suspension handles great. Check out the Lime Rush. So yeah, just like any other Camry video, very easy to see out of this car. But I just can't take it into town on this unit. They're very easy to drive. You could come from any walk of life and you could jump into a Camry and you're gonna feel at home. And you might even be shocked a little bit. You might enjoy it more than you thought, especially at the base level. So let me park this. We'll wrap up the video and I hope to see you guys in the tutorial. So there it is. Thank you for checking out my Camry video on the 2023 LE. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're in the market, I hope this kind of helped you figure things out a little bit more. If you're a Toyota person, hopefully you found it entertaining. And I wanted to give a special thank you to my subscribers and supporters. Everybody, you're awesome. Thank you so much. And you know you can always find me in the comments if you have questions or concerns. And if you like the video, just take 1 second to give it a like and consider subscribing if you'd like to see more Toyota content. By you liking the video, subscribing, and even sharing it with somebody, it's letting YouTube know that you like my content and you want other people to be able to see it. So if you have a couple seconds to do one of those things for me, that would be a big help. And I will see you in the next video, guys. Peace.